Hello, dear friends. Some people think I can only write about the reset or the economy, but my life is very varied and multifaceted, like the system of every spiritual seeker. We writers need muses to inspire us with their wit. In ancient Greece, the masses were each of the 9 deities who inhabited Parnassus and protected the sciences and the liberal arts. I didn't talk about this topic before for lack of information, not interest. Opinion piece. What is a Dakini? It is a female deity. It is sky dancer. They are agents of test and challenge. They are energetic female forms. They are aggressive or volatile in character. They act as muses for our aspirant. They live in the pure land of the Dakinis. The queen of the Dakinis is Vajrayogini, leads to enlightenment quickly, is the mother of transcendent wisdom. All women are Dakinis in potential. Let's start. I must confess a secret that I have not revealed to anyone until now. All my life I have been in love with Dakinis, just as others fall in love with visions, fairies, and the respectable, invisible, luminous, and transparent ladies who populate nature and who inhabit other dimensions, as the legend of King Arthur tells. It is normal for a man to fall in love with a woman, but not so much if that lady is not flesh and blood. The idealistic pursuit of the goddess, who represents the feminine energy of the creator, is a recurring theme in all epic legends of heroes and white knights. The enigmatic figure of the Dakini is revered, desired, and even feared, forming one of the most fascinating and enigmatic figures in mystical religious thought. It's like the love of Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, patroness of alchemists, equivalent to Prajnaparamita, the mother of wisdom, meaning the perfection of transcendent wisdom. It refers to a perfected way of seeing the nature of reality. According to Buddhism, a Dakini is not an individual goddess, but a spirit of the air. Dakinis are similar to Celtic fairies and air spirits. It is said that, like angels or elves, they are supernatural beings who act as initiators of spiritual trials, challenging our determination. They appear in critical and decisive moments in which the decision we take would have transcendental importance. Padmasambhava, or Guru Rinpoche, responsible for spreading Buddhism in Tibet, in turn left teachings to the Dakinis, such as his own consort Geshe Tsogyal, a princess who attained enlightenment and who is revered as the Dakini of wisdom, archetype of all Dakinis. Definition. A Dakini can be understood as a goddess or female deity within the Buddhist tradition. In the Tibetan language, the term Dakini is Kandroma, which means she who traverses the sky, or she who moves in space. It is also referred to as sky dancer or sky walker. Their bodies are represented with sinuous and dancing postures, naked and beautiful, but they are not seen as sexual symbols, but as symbols of the naked nature of the mind, free from all obscurations. The movements of their dance represent the movements and thoughts of consciousness in the mental flow as the spontaneous flowering of the Buddha mind. Never confuse the word Tantra with physical sex. In Hinduism and Buddhism, Tantra is a collection of sacred texts that bring together esoteric doctrines, practices, and rituals. Although there was a left-handed Hindu branch of this tradition that drifted into sex, that is not the goal or essence of this mainstream Asian spiritual tradition. Physical sex would be an illusion or delusion of the matrix. According to all spiritual traditions of humankind, and using delusion to find the truth wouldn't be the most direct path of all, but rather a distraction. Tibetan Buddhism. In what is called higher Tantra yoga, the emphasis is on various yoga practices that allow the practitioner to realize the true nature of reality. Deity yoga is a fundamental practice of Vajrayogini Buddhism that involves the visualization of mental images consisting mainly of deities such as the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and wrathful deities, along with the repetition of mantras. Deity yoga involves two stages, the generation stage and the completion stage. In the generation stage, one dissolves the world and visualizes the chosen deity or Jidam, its mandala and companion deities, resulting in identification with this divine reality. In the completion stage, one dissolves the visualization into the realization of shunyata or emptiness. The practices of the completion stage may also include energy or subtle body practices, as well as other practices such as from the 6 yogas of Naropa, such as dream yoga. The views and practices associated with Dzogchen and Mahamudra are often considered the culmination of the Tantric path. These practices focus on the very nature of reality and the experience called Dharmakaya or Rigpa. The views and practices associated with the Dzogchen and Mahamudra teachings are often considered the culmination of the Tantric path and the highest meditation. These practices focus on the direct realization of the nature of reality, called Dharmakaya or Rigpa, as we have said. The Dakinis. Dakinis are prevalent in Vajrayogini Buddhism, and in Tibet and the Himalayas they are considered to be of aggressive or volatile temperament, sometimes acting as muses of inspirational aspects for spiritual practices. Dakinis are energetic female forms evoking the energetic movement of space. In this context, the sky or space indicates emptiness or shunyata, the insubstantiality of all phenomena, which is at the same time the pure potential of all possible manifestations. The Dakinis are agents of testing and challenge. There are situations where a Dakini has come to test an aspirant's knowledge or control over a particular subject. Many stories of great Mahasiddha initiates in Tibet contain passages where a Dakini disturbs the aspiring Mahasiddha. When the trials of the Dakinis are passed, the aspirant is often recognized as a Mahasiddha and often elevated to the pure land of the Dakinis, a place of ecstasy and enlightenment. The Dakinis relate to energy in all its functions and are related to the revelations of the Anuttara Tantras, or the highest sacred texts that contain esoteric doctrines and practices, which represent a path of transformation. Here, the energy of negative emotion or kleshas, called poisons, are transformed into the luminous energy of the clarity of enlightenment called jnana in Sanskrit, or gnosis in the West. Iconographic depictions often depict the Dakinis as young, nude figures in dancing postures, often holding a bowl or kapala with the elixir of life in one hand and carved knife in the other. Their hair is wild, falling down their back, and their face often has angry expressions, representing their complete mastery over ego and ignorance. Kinds of Dakini. There are 4 main kinds of Dakini. First one. The secret kind of Dakini is Prajnaparamita, or emptiness, the empty nature of reality. Second one. The inner kind is the Dakini of the mandala, a meditative deity, an enlightened Buddha who helps the practitioner to recognize his or her own Buddhahood. Third one. The outer Dakini is the physical form of the Dakinis, attained through completion of the stage of practices such as the 6 yogas of Naropa that work with the subtle winds of the subtle body, so that the practitioner's body is compatible with an enlightened mind. Fourth, the outer Dakini is a Dakini in human form. She is a yogini or tantric practitioner in her own right, but can also be a consort or kamamudra of a yogi or mahasiddha. The heaven of the Dakinis. The heavenly realm of the Dakinis is called Kechari, meaning land of Dakinis, a state of enlightenment attained through certain yoga practices. There are 5 orders of Dakinis, organized by color and attribute. Priestess Dakinis, like hospice workers, care for the dying, and it is said that they are the ones who take the last breath of those who are dying, thus easing the person's passage and helping him or her to achieve a conscious death. The Dakinis are agents of proof and challenge. There are situations where a Dakini has come to test an aspirant's knowledge or control over a particular subject. Many stories of the Mahasiddhas in Tibet contain passages where a Dakini disturbs the aspirant. When the tests of the Dakinis are passed, the aspirant is often recognized as a Mahasiddha and often elevated to the pure land of the Dakinis, a place of ecstasy, of enlightenment. Feminine principle. According to Camila Martinez, the Dakinis are generally considered to be feminine principles of wisdom that manifest in feminine form to help beings. The way in which they help human beings transcends our ideas of appropriate behavior, since for the Dakinis good social customs are the least important thing. What it is about is to help to achieve enlightenment or awakening. This is why they often manifest in their angry or wrathful forms, responding to the need to destroy the obstacle of the mind. Their nature is just radiant spontaneity. Twice she manifested herself to me as an old beggar woman, totally crazy and saying incongruous things, but I was afraid of her and didn't play along. It would have been enough for me to repeat her name out loud. I can't help it. But everything supernatural scares me at first, and I think I am not the only one. The Dakini symbolizes the level of self-realization, the sacred aspect of the body, the visionary dimension of practice, and the empty qualities and the spaces of the mind itself. Some early translators compared the Dakini to fairies, and there is something to that, but it can also be compared to muses and nymphs. Spiritual practitioners, male and female, await her visit to advance their practice and receive visions. The Dakinis are also associated with the protection and decoding of certain secret texts known as termas, being themselves repositories of the great legacy of Guru Rinpoche, the second Buddha, according to the Tantric practitioners of Tibet. The Dakini is the unity of emptiness and bliss, or of emptiness and luminosity. It acts completely spontaneously, having stopped its own mind and having freed itself from discursive conceptual thought. It is the pure Gnostic irradiation of space, the play of divine manifestation, although there are certain characteristics to identify a Western Dakini, such as her third eye. It is said that women are actually Dakinis, Buddhas in potency, and in Tantra are revered as the most sacred being, the pristine manifestation of wisdom, which is equal to emptiness. Vajrayogini. The queen of the Dakinis is Vajrayogini, Dorje Nalyorma, or something Dorje Pakmu, and I think I have seen her twice in my life, although I identified her after the fact. If there is one thing I regret, it is not recognizing her at the time and not saying her name out loud. Who knows if it would have taken me to the pure land of the Dakinis, a place of ecstasy and enlightenment? My personal perception as an initiated of this deity is that Mrs. Vajrayogini has a very strong and powerful energy, so much so that I could hardly stand when I practiced her mantra. It is like the fire that attracts you, but at the same time burns you. Or, as this popular song says, neither with you nor without you, my ills have no remedy. With you, because you kill me, and without you, because I die. Vajrayogini is used as a meditation deity in Supreme Tantra. Her practice was considered by Lama Tsongkhapa as a fast track to enlightenment. She is depicted as a young, naked, red-colored woman. She has a vertical third eye and carries a Vajra-handled knife, and in her left hand a kapala or skull. Her consort is Heruka Chakrasambhara. Sri Erukoham means I am Eruka. Vajrayogini is a female tantric Buddha and a Dakini. The essence of Vajrayogini is great passion, a transcendent passion that is free of selfishness and delusions. She works intensely for the welfare of others and for the destruction of ego attachment. It is considered ideal for people with strong passions, providing the way to transform those passions into enlightened virtues. Vajrayogini is the essence of all Buddhas. She is the supreme deity of the Tantric pantheon. She is a meditation deity, and her practice includes methods of preventing ordinary death, the intermediate state of Bardo, and rebirth, transforming them into paths to enlightenment and transforming all mundane everyday experiences into higher spiritual paths. The practices associated with it are the Chet and the 6 yogas of Naropa. Vajrayogini is visualized as the translucent, dark red form of a 16-year-old woman with the third eye of wisdom placed vertically on her forehead and flowing hair. Every aspect of Vajrayogini's form and mandala is designed to convey spiritual meaning. For example, his bright red body symbolizes the radiance of his tumo or inner fire of spiritual transformation, as well as life force of or Shakti. His one face symbolizes his realization that all phenomena, are of a nature of emptiness. His two arms symbolize his realization of the two truths. His three eyes symbolize his ability to see everything in the past, present, and future. He looks upward toward the pure land of the Dakinis, demonstrating that he has attained the outer and inner pure land, and indicating that he leads his followers to those attainments. The curved Driguk knife in his right hand shows his power to cut off the continuum of delusions and obstacles from his followers and all living beings. Drinking from the Kapala in his left hand symbolizes his experience of supreme bliss. Reflections. That is all this issue. Now, other news or other reflections. Delusions leads to mental illness. We have been deluded and we are deluding each other. If you think you can fly and jump out of a van, you break your bones. If you believe you can fly and you jump from the ground and you find out you can't fly, you are testing a belief. If you believe you can fly and you jump from the ground and you fly away like the Yogi Milarepa of Tibet, then you are gifted to fly. If you test your beliefs experimentally instead of acting on them, then you are sane. Criminals believe that their problems will be solved if they commit outrages. They do not see the problems the act will create. For every action, there is an equal reaction called karma. There is no escape. If you want to escape the third density school, learn its lessons and set yourself free. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, would be a symptom of insanity. The insane do not know they are insane. When you know you are crazy and stop the irrational behavior, then you are sane. Don't hide your light. Isn't life getting more interesting by the minute? We now know that our whole life has been a lie in every direction. Putting the pieces back together and arriving at our greatness feels good. My grandmother used to say, "Never hide your light under a bushel basket. Let it shine." We are doing that and it feels good. Humor is a divine tool. God gave humankind some tools to help it survive in hell. Kind and sincere humor, which doesn't hurt or offend other human beings, is a very useful tool for self-healing. Release Wings of a Dove. Lyrics and music Robert Priceman. Based on Psalm 55. In quotes, "If I had wings like a dove, far, far away, I would fly and hide to rest. If I could fly above, so far above, and be free to slip away and rest. For all that is up through the sky may be free to fly high and be at rest." The power of the Rosary. Let's cut a line also to Catholic tradition. The devil admitted to Vatican chief exorcist Gabriel Amorth, who performed thousands of exorcisms, in quotes, "I am afraid of Our Lady. Every Hail Mary of the Rosary is a blow to the head for me. If Christians knew the power of the rosary, it would be the end of me. Saint Francis talked about the antipope apostate in times of the Great Tribulation. The first beast of the apocalypse, which represents Freemasonry, is personified in the Antichrist, and the second, which represents ecclesiastical Freemasonry, is the false prophet. Current news. Strange things are happening at Walmart. They know what's coming. Something seems to be very wrong at several Walmart stores, and people are beginning to notice. First, several aisles full of food and produce are sealed off with signs saying they cannot sell this item at this time. Other aisles for filling up with survival foods. Seoul will be the first city to create metaverse. Seoul authorities announced November 3rd that the city will create a metaverse platform to provide public services with the help of virtual and augmented reality. The term metaverse designates a cyberspace parallel to physical reality, where a community of people can interact in the form of avatars. Dollar collapse could trigger new highs in metals. The dollar is trading at very significant levels of 94, and should it collapse, this could be the impetus to lift metals higher. Precious metals are pressuring the dollar, and we are seeing a shift in momentum. This pressure could be a sign that the dollar is falling. Energy prices could cause problems for cryptocurrency miners, as fuel costs are a major factor in mining. This could put pressure on metals and miners for a while. Energy stocks are likely to do very well, but the rally could be short-lived. Expect high commodity prices before everything normalizes. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.